So we are headed down to the Ignite THP studios. We're going to do our TPI assessment. Super excited about getting this started. And I don't think I've been this excited to go to a gym in quite some time. We're going to head on over to the car. And let's get this day started. And I am back from my performance evaluation, golf performance evaluation with THP. Quite possibly some of the most fun that I've had in a very, very, very long time in a gym. And I am super excited about some of the things that we're gonna be working on in order to improve my mobility, to improve the way that I use my body in the golf swing. Thank you very much for tuning in to my YouTube channel. My name is Kenny. Some of you may know me as Kennie Kat. I am a competitive golfer, and this channel is dedicated to my journey on what it takes to become a better competitive golfer. My lenses are dirty. Give me just a moment. I need to clean them. All right. Sorry that I have not been uploading content at a regular interval. I do apologize. I have still been doing some golf-related stuff, but I haven't really been competing. And if I'm honest, I haven't really been practicing as much as I normally do. Long story short, I needed a vacation. I have almost close to 200 hours of PTO built up. So it was great to get out and kind of just decompress and relax and not be so focused on waking up at 5 o'clock every single morning to get after it from a golf game. I've been swing training, and obviously I've started to get up to top end speeds of like 125, 122 miles an hour. And that really got me thinking, because the stresses that I'm putting on my body have started to make themselves, I guess, apparent, throughout the days. Like, there's times where I'd feel some different types of soreness and pains in my upper traps that I wasn't quite used to. And that kind of got me thinking about my overall body health and my overall body strength and flexibility. Prior to starting to gain some weight, I was doing yoga on a pretty much daily basis. I was, doing a lot of stretches, doing a lot of different yoga routines, and I had a pretty good amount of flexibility, but I was also about 15 pounds lighter. And of course, as an athletic person, I've always had a pretty good workout routine where I do a little bit of cardio, some kind of strength training, whether it be upper body or lower body lunges, or some kind of general training to keep myself in a fit and active, physique and an active lifestyle. But I wasn't really following a regimented training program like I did in my college days when I was actively training for track and field. After talking with Kurt, he recently underwent knee surgery to repair an issue that he had for many, many years. And I was talking to him about his physical therapists and working with a couple of different performance training coaches. And out here in Arizona, fortunately, because there's a lot of athletes here and it's a lot of spring training and baseball comes to Arizona to practice, I have access to a lot of really good trainers and a lot of really good coaches. So Kurt recommended that I go get an assessment and start building a training program with the guys over at THP Ignite. And that's where I headed over to this morning. And I have to say that I was thoroughly impressed with their assessment, their evaluation. And we're going to talk about that in just a little bit. But they're known for working with a lot of professional athletes out here, both baseball, golf, and they actually do happen to work directly with Jon Rahm. I know that's one of the bigger PGA names they do work with. But I was very impressed with their knowledge and their thorough assessment of my body. And I wanted to share a little bit of that with you down the screen, because I know I'm working on a swing change, and we're going to get into a few things that they picked up on in the assessment that gives us some good information as to why there are maybe some things that are going on in my swing that have been really difficult for me to change. I'm sorry that I didn't film it. I really wanted to focus on my evaluation and make sure that I was going through the steps as well as I could. but I will get more film in the future to talk a little bit about the workouts and then some of the things that were tested. And obviously that can probably help you guys down that lens, you guys and gals, down that lens, understand where some issues and where some faults might be in your own game and why you may not be able to get into the positions that you'd like to. So the first thing that we did was we did a body mass index on a very, sophisticated machine. I've had this done many times before where it gives you your body breakdown and all of that. Got my readout report here. Basically, all it says is I've got really good muscle mass relative to my body fat, even though I feel like I can't fit into anything lately because my thighs have exploded to the size of tree trunks. None of my swim clothes fit in Mexico, and I'm sure you'll see when I release that video that I look like a legit sausage in those yellow shorts. It is what it is. One of the things that they did pick up on, though, that was interesting is my upper body has more muscle mass than my lower body. I would definitely not have guessed that, especially judging by how tight my pants and my shorts have gotten in the thigh areas. This has gone on way too long. On to the actual assessment. So for those of you who don't know or have never heard of TPI, it's the Titleist Performance Institute. It's basically scientists put together testing criteria in order to determine your body's mobility, your body's strength. And I know a lot of these tests are used to help determine, if an athlete has a potential injury potential or whatever the case may be. So we're just going to talk a little bit about the functional movement screen, where they had me do a couple of different things. They had me do a squat with like a pole above my head. They had me do this like hurdle step over this like tiny little 36-inch platform. I did an inline lunge. We did some shoulder mobility. We did some push-up mobility and some rotary mobility in the chair. And then after the movement analysis, we did a power analysis, which tested my vertical jump. I don't know if this is in inches, but this is a vertical jump power score. And as you can see, my vertical jump power, as expected, is very strong. Out of that evaluation, I am 118%, almost 120% of I guess what they would call within ranges or optimal power based off of the way this criteria test is done. Not that shocking. Used to be a high jumper, I can jump pretty high. And then they do upper body power with the seated chest pass with the medicine ball. This is a TPI thing. And based off of their assessment, about 95% of optimal power from chest and upper body. We did a rotational baseline throw where basically you hold the medicine ball and you throw it into a wall. There, on the rotational power, I'm a little bit weaker, about 65%. My sit up and throw, which is basically where you do a sit up and throw the ball as far as you can, about 80%, so good there. And then also on the left side with the rotational, about 62%. So the rotational power and rotational speed or rotational power definitely could increase. Then they tested grip strength, which was well above norms or well what we need to, around 89% in that area. So essentially what that screen is saying is that I have a good amount of usable power. Strong legs, relatively strong upper body. There is no physical reason as to why I can't, hit the ball far or get whatever speeds I need to out of what I currently bring to the table. The next thing was the movement assessments. So we did a sequencing score that basically looked at my ability to separate my segments. So basically my ability to separate top and lower independently. And in that area, I scored 50%. As my instructors and my coaches pointed out, there is some hip mobility issues. The biggest thing is my lower body mobility and my upper body mobility and my wrist and hand mobility, right? All those things that basically give you the ability to rotate fluidly and quickly all scored relatively low. Overall, I would agree with the assessments. I definitely have a lot to do to improve in the mobility area. Adding a lot of mass to my frame has definitely made me less rotationally fluid. I know that just based off of the way that I move. And I tried yoga the other day, or I did a yoga routine the other day, and man, that was rough. My ability to move and rotate is a lot less now than it was when I was 155 pounds. And a lot of that is simply just because I haven't really focused on flexibility and movement as I've started to gain weight. So not too shocking there. It was so exciting to see Spencer, who is the founder of the company, literally in 15 minutes of my physical screen, he was able to tell me exactly what my swing flaws were without ever seeing me pick up a club. And that's how you know you've got somebody who's a legit professional and a very thorough at what they do. He literally pointed out the hyperextension of the T-spine, the upper body, so moving towards the target and back in this direction. He talked about the trail hip, and all of it made so much sense, especially when, we put in what Kurt and I have been working on. He's like, you're an athlete. So if you can't generate power using these muscles, you're going to compensate with other ways. So if you got a strong upper body and you can rotate that quickly, you're going to typically lean your upper body back further, and that's going to cause your hips to not be as loaded, and you're going to use the muscles that you have in order to make the ball do what you want it to do. And if you got good hand-eye coordination, which I do, you're going to flip the club and you're going to get the face where you need it to go in order to get the shot to do what you want it to do. And I was sitting there smiling as he was talking about this. And as you can tell, I'm so excited because it's great to have your coach give you feedback on what you need to do to improve your swing, and then walk into a completely independent physical coach instructor and have him parrot the exact same information. So I thought that was super exciting, and I haven't yet started the workouts, but I did want to share that because this is the road that we're going to go down. And I'm not saying that this is going to all of a sudden make me the best golfer in the world. Like, no, there's still a lot that has to go into it, but it's definitely a huge component as to why I've been going through the same issues with Kurt over and over again. Based off of this screen, there's a lot more work that has to be done before even I can start comfortably and consistently getting my body in those positions. The goal is always the same. If we can get the mobility to unlock some of those gears, we can probably start to harness a lot more of that speed and get a more repeatable swing, which ideally is going to give me a more repeatable ball flight. As always, thank you very much for watching my YouTube channel. Deuces, people. Let's keep it moving.